indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll begin with public comments on agenda items only.
Don't all speak at once.
Yeah, don't all speak at once. Okay, reports of supervisor and council. I want to report that Dutchess County has a household hazardous waste disposal of electronics and recycling event on June 25th, 2016, to be held at DCRRA 96 Sand Dock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, 8 a.m. to 1:30. There will be a second event October 29th at the same location. And it's posted on the board, the bulletin board outside. The next is there is a used clothing drive to raise funds for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. The date is May 21st, 2016, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Unionvale Middle School. The next thing is I met with the people at the Fountains of Millbrook on Tuesday the 10th. They had a couple of different things they wanted me to bring up. One is about the handicap accessory down at the park. The other is that they would like everything at the park to be senior friendly. They would like more time for the pool, maybe some camp sessions, water aerobics, and they will be trying to help us with Community Day, anything we need. We're thinking about asking them to make signs for us for Community Day. Community Day is June 4th, 2016, 12 to 9 p.m. down at Tymor Park. Everyone should attend that. The next thing is I got an email from Tymor. Patty, I believe the state will give us the go-ahead today, but at this point we will look to close the road on Monday, 5/23, after the morning rush, about 9 or 10. We have been trying to reduce the impact to public and prefab material and line up work so that work can be processed uninterrupted. We are still attempting to have the majority of the work done before the start of the school year in the fall, and this is pertaining to the bridge closure on Route 55.
When was that dated, that email?
The email they sent me was on the 18th.
Okay. Yesterday.
On
Thank
Wednesday,
you.
yeah. And again, it'll be 55, should be closed down on the 23rd if all goes well. And that is it for my reports. Anyone, John?
Well, I'd just like to further your comments regarding the 4th of June is Community Day, 12 to 9. Our chairman, Andrea Casey, who was filling in for Mary Lou tonight, has put together quite a long list of activities. It's supposed to be a very good community day. There's going to be a lot of groups from the town participating, fire company, rescue squad. Andrea, maybe you want to say now or later some specifics?
Yeah, I can add in now. Mary Jane's going to do her pony rides again, as usual. We're going to have Bill Robinson back, the Birds and Reptiles presenter. Hopefully this year, weather pending again, we're going to try for the tethered hot air balloons. So that will happen around 4 o'clock, depending on the wind, of course. And we're going to have our game show again, bounce houses, the dunk tank, which I don't know if Patty wants to talk about, is probably going to be one of the highlights of this year's Community Day. So go ahead, Patty.
What do I need to say? I'm going to be the main attraction in the dunk tank, and I think that I have John on board,
I'll be a
and
target
Dave, and Steve. They all agreed to it. Don't let them back out. What about you, Corrina? You're on the spot now.
I say no. I'll throw the balls
Okay.
at you guys.
Well, Corrina will be paying for all the balls.
I'll be paying.
It's going to be
How
for
about that?
charity, so whoever raises the most money will then get to donate to their choice of charity.
Awesome.
Okay, are you done, John? That's it?
The other thing is, I'm working with our grant application, a grant person to see if we can get some grant money for a new salt shed up at the highway garage. I have to talk with you further, but there's a lot of things we've got to address to conform to their requests, but hopefully we're going to be able to work something out.
Thank you. Corrina, anything?
I just want to say, I want to talk about the fountains, but first I just want to clarify, I guess my first name is a little confusing. So I just want to say my name is Corrina Kelley, and you can call me Corrina, you can call me Mrs. Kelley, you can call me Councilwoman, Deputy Supervisor, it's all okay, but I know that sort of my name has been changing as people have been mispronouncing it, so I just wanted to be clear. So as Patty had shared, we had the opportunity to go up to the fountains of Millbrook. Unfortunately, it was sort of stemmed by a complaint and some bad things since the road had been repaved. There's been several falls because the road was not repaved to the standard it had been paved at. So unfortunately, that was a little bit of a problem, but it opened an opportunity that we met with the administration and we heard them out on different issues they'd like us to address, but then we had the opportunity to meet the residents. And the director was very honest. She said, I don't know if anyone will come. We had a room full of like 25 people, like super excited to talk and pass around a microphone. And they really, I mean, they are residents of Unionville, but they really want to be residents of Unionville. So they all had like lots of different opinions, things that have changed over the years, some deterioration that has happened at the park, so now they can't actually step onto the pavilion platforms, things that we can probably address and sort of bring them in as more of a community.
I'm just curious, what has deteriorated?
Like the erosion around the concrete bases, so they need more of like a ramp to get wheelchairs up. And since we put in the picnic tables, which has probably happened in the last 5 to 10 years, they're fixed picnic tables, so they can't sit at them because of their, physical abilities. So just different things we can work with the parks. Like if we just pull 1 or 2 out when we know they're coming, they said, temporary tables are fine. They're not picky, but they'd, rather sit. They actually bring their own chairs. They'd rather sit at that, but they can't bring themselves up to the picnic table. But they mentioned that the like earth was eroding around. And it definitely has been over the past few years. We've gotten lots more storms and flooding over there. So just different issues. But they are coming definitely to, at least to the fireworks and community day. They now have our flyer and they're just really excited to be brought in and be a part of the community.
They also asked about speed humps and road signage and stuff like that, and I am looking into that right now so that we don't have to discuss that right now. Is there anything else?
Okay.
Dave?
Well, I was looking into flagpole lights. Sounds kind of silly, but we pay almost $500 a year to light a flag on the green. The most expensive flagpole lights would run us for solar flagpole light would run us $300. That would save us automatically. That's not counting, the kilowatt hours. That's just the delivery fee for the electricity. It would save us $180 a year. There are a couple of other places in the town where we're spending a lot of money on electricity that we're not using any of it as well. So I'd like to look into those, and I'd like to get a solar power flagpole light. There are 2 of them in the packet that I gave you. One is a 2-light system. One that lights the flag for up to 12 hours. One is a 3-light system that lights the flag for up to 8 hours. And both are approved by the federal government for lighting the flag.
This isn't a whole new pole, right?
No, it's just the lights.
The thing
Just
that,
an add-on, right?
just
Huh?
this,
Just
this,
an add-on?
Just
an
an
add-on that
right.
mounts onto any pole that we may already
Right.
have existing.
Right. It would just go on. They're good for 15 to 30-foot poles. I think that pole on the green, John, is what, maybe 20 feet?
I believe so, yes. Yeah, that would be a nice
And-
improvement.
Well, I'm looking at the prices here, and they're below the threshold that requires board action. If you work with the recreation director on that, I'm thinking, just go ahead and.
Yeah,
do
and
what you
maybe
gotta
he
do.
can go ahead and do it. Okay, I have no problem with it.
Okay.
Anything else, Steve?
No, that's about the only thing that I have right now.
Okay, Steve?
I don't have anything, no.
Okay. Now we'll move to reports of departments and committees. The Highway Department, I see he's not here. Bookkeeper, he is here.
There we go.
Hi, Ryan Cortine, Town Bookkeeper. So for the month of April, the A-Fund revenue was $45,768.36. The A-Fund expenditures were $101,900.19. The D-Fund revenue was $11,488.67, and the D-Fund expenditures were $71,842.16. And then just two things that are on your agenda tonight. The Budget Advisory Committee, Councilwoman Kelley was looking for my input, and then I also spoke with the town supervisor, obviously. Overall, I think it's a good idea. Just a few recommendations. I would recommend that it have 5 to 7 members sworn in like other boards and committees, because at times, I know when you go through a budget process and you're talking with department heads and personnel, then personnel matters may tend to come up. So it's helpful that the people that are part of this committee are actually town officials by being sworn in. And then there's one paragraph about what I really saw as the kind of the main function of the advisory committee, and Councilman Kelley and I kind of went back and forth on some language. So the main line there was really that it makes recommendations to the budget officer and town board on budget priorities prior to budget approval and at other times as appropriate. And just to be clear, the budget officer is not me. The budget officer is Supervisor Tompkins, by state law, is the budget officer, which some people think I'm the budget officer. I'm not. And also, I would recommend that it should have coordinated meetings with elected officials, town board liaisons, and department heads. That way members of the committee don't feel as though, oh, I'm on this committee, then I'm going to go down to rec and talk with the rec director for 3 hours about what I think should be going on. I mean, there needs to be some coordination, otherwise it could really jam up a lot of the employees here. And then also, I would say there's another part of it that I would recommend that shouldn't include what I would call community liaisons, kind of separating out, well, how about someone from this group, someone from that group? I mean, everybody, I believe, is welcome from the way it's overall set up. But I think if you start kind of picking and choosing, then you're more likely to have other people say, well, wait, you didn't ask me, or why did you ask that person? So I think you stick with the 5 to 7 members and they're sworn in. I think that's a good idea. And then on the media transfer, they go back and check. I know Councilman McMorris, when he was the media coordinator, and Deputy Clerk
Andrea?
Casey. Sorry, I'm blanking. Casey. They asked me to look into this. So what I was able to find is that back in April of 2010, the town did receive a check from CSC Holdings, which is the company that cuts the checks from Cablevision, in the amount of $10,194. And it looked different than the other checks. The town of Unionville receives a check every quarter from CSC Holdings as a franchise fee. People who use Cablevision, they pay a fee. That money comes back to the town. So those checks tend to be more like $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 each quarter. So this was a different amount than the rest of them, and also the check number didn't really match up with the other check numbers as they were coming in. So I'm pretty confident, based on it seeming to be different, and then also Councilman McMorris remembering the time frame that was about 6 years ago, that this is likely the check that came in as part of the Cablevision agreement. The agreement itself, as Deputy Clerk Casey and I went over, it said $7,500.
Yeah.
So good for you that it's $10,194.
They agreed to up it.
Oh, okay. Good.
They agreed to, oh, yeah,
Nice.
okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So the bottom line is, some money we found over the years was spent out of the media budget's .2 for equipment, but I think, do you remember, maybe 1,800 or 2,000?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so there's not money in the budget this year for the equipment that they're looking to buy. That's the need for the transfer. It's much easier to transfer it from somewhere in the budget to this line of the budget, rather than trying to amend the budget, because you're amending it for an expenditure, you can't amend it also for a revenue that you received 6 years ago. The town already has the money, it's just becomes part of the town's fund balance over the years. So the account that it's coming from, $3,000, there's certainly enough money in there. There's $15,000 budgeted. I believe at this point, a third of the way through the year, it's only expended a little over $2,000, I believe, from that budget line. So this is $3,000 is certainly there and would cover the expenses, and I think is in line with the check that the town received those 6 years ago. And that was it. I'll make a photocopy of this. And give it to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Parks and Recreation. Rob's on vacation, so he's not here this week, so I guess we'll have to wait on that. Recycling, Tom's not in. Dog control, Steve?
Just gotta get to it. Okay, Andy, thank you. She handled 2 reports of lost dogs and 2 found dogs and 2 menacing dog complaints. Thank you.
Town clerk's report, Andrea?
Okay. All right, so I'll read all the line items. The conservation license was $9.66. Certified copies were $350. The copy machine was $1. Marriage license, no money is collected. Recreation programs totaling $55,352.50. Non-resident fishing was $60. The after-school program brought in $5,516. The equestrian center is $750. Recycling and compactor tickets totaling $7,081.
Refuse bin?
Yeah, what is that? Okay.
That's the container at the recycling center where you pay to get rid of bulk items.
Okay, for bulk items. Okay, so that was $805.30, and dog licenses was $335.50. So that is totaling the amount of $70,483.30 came into the supervisor.
Good month.
Zoning?
Okay, zoning for the month of April, nothing was collected, so 0 income.
Planning?
No, I don't know when.
Okay.
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
All right, go ahead. It's a lot.
Yeah, no money's collected.
Yeah.
Another 0.
Code enforcement?
Okay. Just have my hand. So the code enforcement report by George Kolb, which was submitted on May 12th. He has started the process of implementing code revisions and amendments for the MS4 requirements. An initial meeting with Mr. Mike Ligori, our attorney, and Larry Paggi, our professional engineer. A draft is expected to be completed in the next month. As we are all aware, a moratorium was passed by the town board for the installation of ground mount solar installations. So he will be working with the town attorney to get a draft proposal to the town board and planning board as soon as possible for our review. Concerns by this office for comments made at the last planning board meeting will be addressed in a letter to the town board next week. So I expect to get that soon. Inspections performed were 51, violation notices were 3, building permits issued were 19, old permit COs issued were 19, municipal searches were 6, complaints received were 3, violations abated 2, resident meetings 19, certified occupancy and compliance are 21, complaints acted upon were 3, appearance tickets issued are 0, fire call-outs are 1, and plan review hours are 16.
Okay. Constable?
Okay, the constables, everything was quiet in court. They had 3 court sessions. I forget how many miles that they drove. There have been a few doors left opened again, but that's been rectified.
And I see they drove through some mud. That vehicle
Not
is a
necessarily them
disaster.
driving through the mud. Let me make that clear. It's not necessarily them driving through the mud.
Yeah,
I mean, they drive on town roads. They're not driving into onto
Construction sites.
construction sites. So I think you have to bring that up with somebody else.
No, that's who came to me and said, did you see that vehicle this morning?
Yeah, well,
So,
like I said.
somebody needs to clean that vehicle. We pay a lot of money for this, and we need to maintain it and keep them in good shape. So, whether it be,
And while I'm on there was something I forgot to bring up before and remind everybody that Memorial Day, we have services on the green.
Down here.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
something on the agenda regarding
It's on the
that.
agenda.
Is it on the agenda?
Yep.
Okay,
B.
all right. But yes, I just wanted to remind everybody, 9 o'clock.
okay, media?
Waiting on the approval of the budget transfer. I have the voucher already all set, so you guys will be either signing it tonight or in the near future. We've had, I think, around 4,000 website views this month so far. We put a missing cat up on the website, so his name is Buster. You can see his picture online. If you see him, call his owners. They're anxiously awaiting his arrival.
You can also call the town.
Yes, the town as well.
Okay, tax collector. The month of April collected $174,553.21. Commissioner of Finance was $200,000. Penalties collected were $5,042.28. Penalties to Supervisor were $5,042.28. And now we'll move on to discussions. First, we're going to discuss the Budget Advisory Committee. And that's up to Dave and Corrina. Had a meeting regarding this. Did we come up with any?
I sent it back to Dave this morning before 9 a.m. And I said, this is up to you what you want to do with it. So I don't know what you did with it.
I've been gone all day, so I haven't seen it. I was looking for it last night, but I didn't see it. I would say, from what Ryan was saying, you know, as far as a 5 to 7 man committee, I agree with that. And I think we should go with it. And if we wait much longer, it's going to be a moot point because we're going to actually start working on the budget at the end of August.
Well, I think that you should get it together and bring us some paperwork
Yeah.
at before the next meeting.
Right.
So the rest of us have a chance to
All right.
look through it. Okay, now drones in Tymor Park.
Okay, I had brought this up in January because I had a concern.
Yep.
All I really think we need to do is include it as part of our rules of our park, no drones, because all 9 deeds specify no motorized vehicles are allowed in the park, and I think that should include it. In addition, the state has passed a law that no drones within 5 miles of an airport, which this park is within 5 miles. So I think all we need to do is add it to our rule list for Tymor Park, no drones. That's it.
And we can put that on the website, we can put that in the town policy and
Right.
procedures, and
Does that have to be?
I will say the actual
I would
law,
think so.
and maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, the actual law on drones 5 miles from an airport says unless you notify the airport, notify the FAA. So the particular picture I have of a photographer who apparently has a new drone, who has an amazing 4-minute video on all of Tymor Park. This is just a clip.
Does he have FAA approval?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Like, so we can't just use that because we wouldn't know. So we need to do something more, like definitely post it everywhere. Say, when we say no motorized stuff, include it, like specifically.
I think there should be some verbiage in there for exceptions for promotional purposes of town events or, you know, at the direction of the town board, you know, or the parks themselves, you know, for promotional purposes.
Well, I think the rule on motor vehicles is unless authorized. I think there is occasion,
So you could say
you know,
that,
like the town
authorized
vehicles
or-
can be.
authorized by.
Authorized or by exception, as long as something is in there like that.
I think Tom could help us out on that at some
Yeah,
point.
the board could amend the park rules to just state that there's no drones permitted on it in the park unless written authorization is given by the town board. So this way, if there's a promotional or some type of event going on, drones are needed or photographic, the board can give consent.
Okay, are there any other discussions on this? All right, now we're gonna discuss once again, reduce rates for non-for-profits in the park. At the last meeting, we discussed this, and my opinion was we should just, instead of giving a 50% reduction, maybe 35 or 30%
How
reduction.
about one
to
third,
the-
33 and
33.
30%?
33 and a
It's easier to
third.
figure, yeah,
Yeah, for the all non-for-profit.
groups, yeah.
I did read here the park rules,
Yep.
and it says, pending approval of the town board, resident non-for-profit organizations with 501c3 status with at least 35% town of Unionville residency may rent the facilities at a 50% the regular rental price. Does not include sports fields. I don't think we've ever, with the non-for-profit, found out if there's 35% residency. I think it's just all non-for-profit. And I think instead of, Rob said that we lost quite a bit of money over the past 5 years. I think it was something like $26,000. So I think I did ask him that the 50% did cover all of our costs. But I think at this point, the shape this town is in, maybe we should make it 35 or 30%, and that could go up to town board vote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do we want to make it? We can make a motion tonight to make it.
I would
And
say-
when do we want to start it? Do we want to start it in January? Do we want to start it next month?
I'd say with any new application.
Any
Or
new
like
application?
July 1st would be 6 months this way, 6 months the other way.
And do we want 30, 35, 25? I mean,
I like 33.
I like one third, yeah, 33 and a
one
third.
third?
That's exact,
I don't know, I'm thinking almost maybe 25%, that way you're recouping half of what your
Right.
losses are.
So there's a quarter instead of a third.
Right. I mean, if the objective is to recoup
Recoup some of the money that we've lost.
yeah, that's, not being collected.
And
then-
still giving these non-for-profits some sort of a discount.
Right.
I think we're being fair.
okay, sounds reasonable.
So,
You've
All right.
cut that uncollected funds by 50% at that point.
okay, so I'll make a motion that any new applicant, instead of 50% off, is 25% off.
I'll second it.
Town board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, now we'll discuss once again the honorarium in the park and the parameters. We went through this again at the last meeting. I feel that people that want to donate things to the park should absolutely be able to donate things to the park. If they want to donate them in honor of somebody, that's fine too, regardless of the reason. And, I spoke to a couple of different people. My opinion is if you want to donate maybe a tree, a living thing to the park, and put a small plaque on it in memory of somebody or in honor of somebody, then that would be fine, as long as, the park director says, yeah, this is the kind of tree we want, and we can place it here in the park. And I think that's a fair thing to do right now. I think each and every individual thing is gonna be different, but I think for now, that would be something that I would be I would like to do. Any
Well,
other
I've
discussions?
talked to other people, and they don't believe in doing it. They say it's not a memorial park, it's a town park, and they're against it.
There are some memorials in there, and I'm not looking at
Well,
it as in a
the
memorial
memorials
park.
that are in there, as I said last time, there was
So
the people
should
that died.
we
and,
accept donations from people?
uh,
There are people who want to donate
If they
benches,
want to
there are people
donate
who want to
something, that's
donate
fine, but
things.
I'm not
And
in
maybe
favor
I
of
would engrave
honorariums.
on the bench that I donate from the Tompkins family. I don't think there's a problem with that. I think it would help the park.
I don't see a problem with that, but I'm opposed to honorariums or memorials.
Yeah, I agree with Dave, especially when you consider the whole park was given to us in memory of Mr.
Connor
McKinney
family.
and Gene Webster by the Connor family. Everything was given in honor of them. So to kind of do it with other people, you're lessening their memorial.
There are other people that have them in there already, though.
I know, but maybe that shouldn't have been done, but
Maybe it shouldn't have been. How can you say no to someone else when you've already allowed it
Well,
for others?
As I said, those 3 people that were honored in there, they were 2 councilmen that died while in office, and a camp counselor who died in an automobile accident while he was still working there, and he was a beloved camp counselor. And it was during the summer months that they did it. So, I mean,
And now you're going to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. What if it was your grandchild, Dave?
if it was my
And your
grandchild, and if it was
Had an
my,
accident in the park and passed away,
it's,
you got to put yourself in other shoes.
I'm, no, I'm opposed to it.
we do have a scholarship fund connected
That's
with the
right.
park to do certain things like that, to, memorialize someone or to do something good in memory of
Make-
somebody.
You could make a donation to the scholarship
In their name.
fund.
So you're telling me we won't accept a donation of a tree if somebody says, I want to donate this tree to the park in memory of my grandchild, my sister, my brother, who may not even be
I-
passed away, but in honor of them or something that you think, I don't know,
No, I know, I mean, we didn't even name the ball field after Don Wisman, and he was a semi-pro ball player, and he helped get this park for us to start with.
So
And he
why
was
didn't
town
we?
supervisor.
For the same reason we
For the
didn't,
same reason,
because
It was because it was
in
never
memory
brought-
of the.
It was never
McKinney.
brought in front of the board either.
It was
And I'm
talked
sure
about.
if it was, that the board would have passed that.
It was talked about.
I know that there are other towns that the ball fields
Are
are
named after former
donated in memory
supervisors.
of people. The town of Beekman has ball fields that are in memory of.
And how do they acquire those ball fields?
These people help pay for installing them.
Right. So,
And these people are gonna pay
Suppose
for the
Beekman was,
installation of the tree, they're gonna take care of the tree. If the tree dies, we get rid of it. It's, I mean, if we can't accept these kind of donations, then we're not gonna accept any donation. And I know there are a few donations coming our way, so, I mean, that's up to the board, so.
I mean, Rob
Unless
spent how
there's
much time
anything
getting rid of trees for the last 3 months?
Because we're gonna replant some, we got an Arbor Day grant, but we didn't get
I
enough
know.
trees for that.
I realize that, but
So what's one more tree? I don't think this is gonna be a worldwide thing where 175 people all of a sudden tomorrow morning are gonna wanna bring all these trees in. I think it's gonna be a case-by-case thing.
And if 175 people said, I want to donate trees, Rob wrote a policy which
Exactly.
actually covers that. That it
Yeah.
has to be something
I understand
that
that.
we're okay with and we have a place for and we would accept.
Right,
So
yeah,
it's
he
not
set up a whole
just-
program.
yeah, he
That's
did.
why I'm voting
Right.
no.
Okay.
Well, he
so-
set up a program so that we would vote.
For it, yeah.
Well, I mean, so that we would vote either for or against it, but he
Yeah.
set it up. He did a lot of the work for
He
us.
did a lot of work.
Yeah,
Okay, any other,
Yeah, you covered the parameters on the types of memorials, but I think if we are gonna have some kind of policy, it should include parameters on who would be eligible to make the memorials. And at minimum, I think that should be for town residents.
For town residents, absolutely.
That have done something for the town, possibly.
I'm open to discussion on it, I'm just saying
Yeah.
at minimum.
But, that have benefited the town in a way, but I'm still opposed.
I'm a town resident, and before this, I have to admit to you, I worked 3 jobs. I was not able to donate my time or volunteer my time to the town. And I pay taxes just like everyone else in this town, and some more. And I gave just as much as everyone else in this town. So to tell me that because I didn't work for the town, I can't donate something would be ludicrous.
I mean, also, I spoke to somebody about this, and they said, well, what if I am a town resident and I want to donate like a stone in memory of her dad, who she was very close with, but he is not a town resident? That only seems fair if our resident is willing to pay the fees associated with putting something in our community park. I think it's a great opportunity to turn our park back into a community park. When I look at the statistics of who we're running programs for and who we're advertising for, it says on our green sign on the side of the barn that this park is for town residents and their guests only, but we actually advertise and mostly have children from other towns. We only had 116 children out of all of our summer programs who were Unionville residents. So I think this is an opportunity to say this is our park. This is a town of Unionville park, and we want it to be centered around our community. So if a town of Unionville resident wants to put a stone in for her father that didn't live here, I think it's still okay.
See, I've got an issue with that. I don't want the park resembling a cemetery. In my opinion, it should be either a tree or some kind of a fixture
A living,
that, the people could use. I don't want to see stone monument or monuments of any type to people like that down there. I don't want the park resembling a cemetery.
I think at this time, I would like to allow a tree or a plant, if Rob feels that there's a bush or a plant that's needed in the park. And that's what I'd like to vote on. So if there's nothing else, I'd like to make a motion that we allow people to donate a tree, or like Steve, something that is useful for the park, a bench, a tree, or whatever.
And this would be limited to town residents?
And it would be limited to town residents. It is, the residents own the park. They pay for it. So I think they should be able to do basically what they want there as long as it's legal. That being said,
So the person paying for it has to be a town resident, or the person they're honoring has to be a town resident?
I would say both.
And so we're
Yeah, I
going
would
to
say
require documentation of residency?
yes.
That's not written in the policy.
And there are still no parameters other than the fact that the person only has to be a town resident. And I think there should, if you're gonna do it, I think there should be more parameters on that, than that. Because I'm sorry.
I'd like to suggest that we have the attorney draw something up in writing that we all can look at, so if it comes to a vote, we understand exactly what it is we're voting on.
Based on Rob's policy that he drew? Or do you want?
And the input
Yeah.
from,
And
the
the input
discussion
from the
here.
discussion tonight, like I said, and I think Steve and I agree on maybe a tree or a bench or something that
Right.
helps the park and is living, and like I said, town resident.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay, so if that's all on that, I would like to discuss now installation of time clocks for Parks and Recreation, the Highway Department has always had time clocks. I think it helps. I think it saves both the employee and the employer.
Definitely.
I think that there are so many people who work in the park during the summer that it's easier if we install a time clock at the tune of anywhere from $150 to $300 it would cost. They are fingerprint time clocks. I have some paperwork on that and spoke to Ryan, our media coordinator, who has a lot of other ideas and ways to go. And I think that if we do that, maybe we should install 2 in the park. This way, you know, if there's a line of people that are trying to punch in at the same time, there are 2 clocks. The fingerprint time clock works really well. And maybe we can also update the time clock in the highway department.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that expensive, and it's just a good thing. Like I said, it's for the protection of the employee and the employer.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
It's
So
a
it's
win-win.
accountability. And
Yes.
my question is whether there's one here in Town Hall or not.
If you
Not
want
yet.
one here in
And if
town
there isn't,
hall,
then yeah, I mean, there should be one
then
here
we
as
can
well.
also put one here as well. I have no qualms about that. I think that would be a great idea too. And again, it's accountability. Of course, elected officials don't have to. I will. I have nothing to hide. I will absolutely punch in just like everybody else. But yeah, Steve, I think that's a good idea too. And maybe we can make a motion to have Ryan look into that and maybe go for maybe we can get 3 for a
What
good
about
price.
the recycling center?
You're right.
If you're gonna do the other 3 locations.
Ryan, can we put one in the recycling center?
Do they
Is-
have internet?
Do they have internet down there? Do they have to?
They would have
We
to.
can piggyback from BY's car wash.
I don't think so.
I don't think he'd
I don't think we should
appreciate
say
that
that
so
out
much,
loud.
but
No, we could ask for a hotspot near there by
Is that,
Cablevision.
could we do that, Ryan?
I wouldn't. If you were to do a hotspot, you mean like optimal Wi-Fi?
Right.
Yeah,
If you were to do that, you're putting that time clock on the public internet,
Oh,
and there's a possibility of someone getting in, destroying it, or
Hacking.
pulling fingerprints. It's no bueno. What I would recommend is either getting a dedicated line at that location, and then setting up a VPN back to here, so that everything's always connected right back to one centralized location where someone's going through and getting all the information from all the clocks. Or just having it as a standalone clock and then just downloading the data once, twice a week.
So it's a possibility, something that isn't too hard to do.
Yes.
Okay, so I make a motion, we go ahead with getting some time clocks for all these locations.
sounds good.
do we need to look into
It's
them
kind of
first?
vague. Yeah.
Well,
it's vague.
Like what are our
okay.
proposals? What are our costs?
Hold on, I have, all right, so I will give you guys, we can vote on
Can we
this.
review it for the next
You can
meeting?
review it for the next meeting. I do have a lot of information on the fingerprint time clock. They look at all of I have all of these documents that you can hit a button and they spit out all this information. And this way, it even saves on the department heads from doing their regular written-in time sheets. It
It'll
saves
help our
time.
payroll as well.
It helps payroll as well, because if it's linked right to this building, she doesn't have to wait around for the constables
Missing,
to bring
yeah.
their time sheets, for the parks to bring their time sheets, for the highway to bring up their time sheets. She can punch a button and she can do her payroll like
Yeah.
that. So, you know, I think that I will give you the information that I have, and this way you guys can all look at it and we can vote on this at the next meeting,
All right, sounds good.
okay? Okay, what's next?
infrared, LED lighting.
Okay, now we're gonna discuss the INF proposal for LED lighting. At the last meeting, we had a presentation by INF, and it was a good presentation, and we wanted to discuss are there any questions or concerns about this? I thought it was really a good idea to do. I think it'll save us a lot of money. I discussed it with the town attorney, and I just want to know, there's a gentleman in the audience who can answer any questions you may have regarding any of this. So, is there anything?
I think the handouts were very explanatory that we received last meeting, and it's very clear from, if these numbers are correct, which I assume they are, that's going to be a substantial savings, and in 4 years, we're going to recoup our investment, which is a very short time frame, and enjoy lower electric bills in the interim.
Okay, so I know that Steve discussed it, and his question was if this deal was gonna last another 2 weeks, because we needed to determine whether our maintenance department could install the bulbs themselves, or if they didn't have enough time, or...
We need to get-
So which...
Fixtures, not just bulbs.
Well, that's another thing. Do we want to get the fixtures? Do we just want to get the bulbs? Do we want to wait till each fixture blows and then get a new fixture? That was an option too, am I correct?
The proposals in front of you are just for the lamps themselves, not new fixtures.
Not new fixtures.
It's for retrofitting the existing.
And I don't anticipate that the rebates would last
Until
indefinitely,
Right.
yeah, while
Wait a minute,
things
the
fail here.
proposal I got dated 4/22 says retrofit existing 125 fixtures for a more efficient LED lamp.
Yes, retrofitting. So we'll remove the lamps there, remove the ballasts,
Right.
install external LED drivers and install LED tubes, but it would be the same fixture.
All right, but it's gonna retrofit them,
Where-
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's more than
balance.
just
The balance
changing
are-
bulbs.
right.
That's what I'm saying, I don't know if our
Right.
maintenance
And
people can do
that's
all that.
why I wanted to discuss this with
With
Rob
Rob,
before
yeah.
we decide.
And what did he say?
Well, we
No,
haven't had
he's
that
away.
opportunity. I'd
Oh.
like,
Rob's been away.
Yeah,
so if we let this go one more session,
right.
and we can speak with Rob in the meantime and find out how much help he can give us, then we can determine which option
Which option we
that
want
we
to
can
take.
choose from
All
what
right.
they offer here. And I think we should take advantage of the finance package that was offered to us at the last session as well. That was pretty attractive.
Yes.
Right.
And basically, the way I understood it was that INF is willing to accept the amount of savings as a payment towards the project until the project is paid off. So it doesn't cost us any money out of pocket, so to speak. And, then after the lights have been paid for, we will recoup that
Right.
amount in savings.
I agree, and
And correct me if I'm wrong, is that pretty much the basis?
That's it.
That's,
You nailed it.
yeah, okay.
Steve's been paying attention.
It's done his homework.
Yep. So these options will last another 2 weeks. right?
Absolutely.
And it has been cleared by the attorney.
Yeah,
There's a clause in our procurement policy for special conditions, and this program would meet
Right.
the boundaries of that clause.
yes,
Yep,
Okay, so will be a vote on June 2nd,
yes.
yeah.
okay?
So do your homework and... Okay, so now we're gonna move on to resolutions and motions. And we are going to make a motion to approve stump grinding in the park. I received an email from Mr. Madison. I think all of you received the same email. We have 3 quotes right now, and I'm still waiting for one more to come in. The quotes include grinding all 50-plus stumps. We will remove the remaining trees prior to the grinding. I recommend that we go with Beaver Stump Grinding, as they have come in with the lowest bid. If the remaining company comes in with a lower bid, I will update you. So far, Beaver Stump Grinding is at $1,560, and I think this is a good deal. I think we should move
Oh, yeah,
forward
because for
with
our guys to
getting
do
it
that
done.
would take all
That's a
summer.
phenomenal
Yeah.
price.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
there's
is.
a lot of tree stumps, there's probably
Yeah.
30 or
There's
40.
50 plus,
There's that many?
yes.
Yeah, that's an excellent
And,
price.
I don't see them pulling them.
Yeah.
They were having a hard time. They tried to pull
They
one.
tried.
Oh, I know,
and-
it's way
and
too much
we just-
labor.
Yeah, and it's just gonna destroy the property.
And
So-
I suggested it to Rob in February, to plan on the stump grinder
Yeah.
rather than,
I
Who
said
was
that to
pulling
him.
them out?
Have you ever heard of a stump grinder? So, okay, I'll make a motion to approve stump grinding in the park with beaver stump grinding for the amount of $1,560.
Second.
Town board discussion?
I will say yes, unless we have a lower bid come in, and then we could take that. But
Okay,
based on this,
I don't think he did since this was May 4th, right? So. it's
Yeah,
2
this was
weeks and a
dated
day.
quite a while
Yeah.
ago.
Maybe the other one never came in.
Right, I'm thinking,
yeah,
that's
this
what I'm
was the
thinking.
day before the last meeting, and that's why we didn't discuss it at the last
Yeah.
meeting.
okay,
Right, May 4th,
All right.
19th.
So, yeah, okay. So you, who
Vote
seconded
yes.
it? John seconded?
no,
Steve
Steve
seconded.
seconded.
You seconded.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, who wants to do the motion for Memorial Day?
I would like to do
You wanna
that.
do
John,
that?
you can do that.
Yeah. This 30th of May, Monday, a week from this coming Monday, is Memorial Day. We're having our annual memorial celebration at 9 a.m. on the green in Burbank. I would like to ask that the town pay for a hanging plant to add to the flagpole area for that event. And ask anybody that can attend to please come and attend. This celebration, this event has been going on for many years. We've got very few participants, but it would be nice if more residents would come. Fire company always attends and lays wreaths, and I think it would be good for the town to have a hanging plant.
Is there any
As well.
kind of parade or anything?
Yes, the parade from the firehouse, it's a short one, but to the, on the Green Memorial, and then back to the firehouse.
Can I just suggest that you put a cap on your motion?
Yeah, I don't know how much a hanging plant costs, but $20, $25.
Oh,
no.
no, you're way
Probably
off there.
50.
The
Probably close to
lowest was
50.
about $36.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
I forget how much
75.
Lizette is paying for the wreaths.
I think we've
but-
paid up to 75.
Up to
in the past.
$75, you go to
All right,
Savannah.
well, I don't buy too many hanging plants. All right, so a cap would be 75, then, if
Okay.
that's your suggestion.
75?
I'll second that.
But get a
And
bargain
who's
rate.
Yeah.
gonna pick this out? You?
Unless you want to.
I say Kathy. Apparently she buys the plants.
Okay. All right, so
Dad, or John made the.
John made the motion, I'll second it.
Okay.
It's kind of awkward, isn't it?
Okay. Town board discussion, I think we already discussed it.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we have a resolution. Corrina, you want to read that for the
Sure.
T-shirts?
Sure, resolution authorizing the purchase of summer camp staff T-shirts, whereas the Town of Unionville Parks and Recreation Director Rob Mattis has informed the town board of the need to purchase 2016 summer camp staff T-shirts. This is also for camper, it doesn't say that, but the memo said staff and camper T-shirts. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Unionville hereby authorizes the purchase of 2016 summer camp staff T-shirts from MG Graphics, which was the lowest price he got, in the amount of $2,842.50.
Town board discussion?
I was only wondering how many T-shirts that is. He just kind of said staff and camper. But
He's not here to answer
I
that
know.
question.
I see that.
Yeah, he really should have told us how many
I'll,
shirts.
I'll second the motion.
Town board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Dave, you want to read this?
I was looking for it. Which one is it?
Budget
This is budget
transfer?
transfer.
Budget transfer, let me see. Don't mind. Resolution authorizing budget transfer, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes the following budget transfer from line 1660.2, central storeroom equipment, but in the amount of $3,000 to line 8982.2, media in the amount of, that's for media equipment, in the amount of $3,000. The question of the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put.
Town board discussion?
Second.
Second? Steve, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Steve, you want to read this one?
Is that E?
Authorizing the payments?
Yeah, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes payment of general fund claims and highway fund vouchers for May 2016, which are available in the town clerk's office, and authorize the town supervisor to make all payments.
I'll second.
Also,
Town board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now we'll have public comments on non-agenda items. Nobody?
Frida, how about you?
Is there a typo in D? Dave, did you read line 8989.2? Or I thought I heard, and remember I'm deaf, 8982.2.
I think it says 89.
You're right, there is a typo.
Of course I'm right.
It's 8989.
It is.
Just get up here and speak.
No, I'm too tired. I need to sleep here.
It's 8989, I remember it well.
All right, I'm going to talk.
Okay,
Wait a minute.
come on.
Adjourn, and then I'll do it. Jean and Ralph Connor called this Tymor Forest. So if we're going to do battle with memorials, if anything, a tree. A bench is not alive unless you got poison ivy vines growing on it. Talking for the Connors and they're long dead. A tree would probably be okay. That's it. Case
A
closed.
tree, thank you. Any other public?
How you doing, folks? I think you remember me from last time. I was Mikey Esposito's uncle. I understand the parameters of the park on how they need to be set. Obviously, there are two council members that feel very strongly against it. For whatever reason you do, that's on you. You brought up a good point that the park it's a public park. It was donated by a family, I believe?
Yes,
Okay. Who sustains the park? Who upkeeps it?
the residents of the town.
Exactly. So it's the town park, right? I
Correct.
think it's for the town to decide. The town's voted you folks in to talk on their behalf. Whatever your personal agenda may be, sir, I'm not sure, but you seem very passionate about it. I don't understand why. The young ladies have agreed to be open-minded. Councilman DeForest over here, is that your name, sir?
Frazier.
No, I'm sorry, Frazier. Councilman Frazier. He seems to be open-minded to the parameters. I think maybe if you want to go with a memorial, if you want to do a bench, you get one company, you set a standard of one particular style bench, and everybody has to abide by that. You have uniformity, you understand? I think people that want to donate something to the park to beautify it would have no objection to it, you understand? So if you want, maybe you could give me your email address, I could send you some ideas, whatever you want, I'm willing to work with you. Unless for some reason you just don't want to hear it. So, thank you.
Any other public comment?
Hi. As a member of the community and a member of the town and a person that used to go to the town park a lot, and still does to go fishing and all that fun stuff, but I agree along with the fact that it's a town park, it's not a memorial. Things have happened in this town park from since I was this tall to this tall, and good and bad, but this is a place I come with my family, and I don't want to be reminded of sad things or happy things, or, you know, it's a place to go to kind of relieve your stress. And it's not a place to go to see headstones. It's not a place to go see stones and benches. I mean, we have benches, we have trees, there's plenty of trees. Like, and I understand new things are always good, but at the same point, I don't want it to become a memorial. And as a community member and a person in this town that grew up in this town, I don't want to see it turn into a memorial place. I want to see it as the town park, a place for the kids to come Easter egg hunting. I want to see it as the camp out grounds. I don't want to see people's names everywhere.
Anything else?
Someplace, there has to be the statement made by the Connors when they gave, Gene and Ralph gave this property, 500 plus acres. The plan was for this forest to be a place of respite for plants, animals, and people. Not a cemetery, not a memorial place. It's changed a lot. Gene died early. Ralph was here, and he went along with camping and summer programs for kids and baseball fields and so on. But it's getting a little crazy. Trees are dying. Replacement of a tree, as I said before.
Replacement of a tree.
Is fine. And it really looks bare down here.
I know, but they were all
Dead.
dead, and I was afraid of
They're
someone
dead on
getting
my road
hurt.
too, so whatever. But
So those all need to be replaced.
replace those.
So if someone
but-
wants to donate a tree,
And that, it's a living thing, and it's part of
Yes.
forest, like I said before, but this is supposed to be a place of respite where you can just go and enjoy nature and not get shot, and not get nailed by a druggie or whatever. Where's Carlos? He's got something to say, I'm sure.
anything else?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
What about
I'll
next?
second it.
Usually we talk about next meeting.
That's not on here.
I know, I don't know why you didn't come.
We've already mentioned stuff we're carrying over.
Yeah,
Right.
we
Yeah.
already mentioned all the stuff we're carrying over.
Okay, and
so-
I've reached out to AECom regarding Furnace Pond Dam for what we're already paying for, since we just paid like, I don't know, $10,000 voucher. And so tentatively, he's coming to the next meeting, just checking with his family activities
Good.
to make a presentation, since we're paying
Mhm.
for it.
Okay. So now Steve second the motion to adjourn?
Actually, I
Right?
made
He made the
He
motion,
made
I
the motion.
seconded it.
Dave second it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.